Welcome to your deep dive. Today, we are going to be exploring Chapter 12 of Jar.
Okay.
Get ready for a journey into a seemingly normal hospital that hides something unsettling beneath the surface, and a young woman's experience that challenges the idea of what it means to be all right.
What struck me is how this chapter uses contrasting settings to immediately create a sense of unease.
Oh, yeah.
We start with this idyllic summer day,
Yeah.
a peaceful landscape, and then, bam,
Yeah.
we're inside a hospital with an eerie stillness that's almost palpable.
Yes. The chapter opens with this young woman and her mother arriving at the hospital.
Right.
The author paints a picture of this charming yellow clapboard house on a grassy rise.
Ah.
The driveway lined with crushed clamshells. It's almost like a postcard from a relaxing getaway.
Yet the sensory details hint at something darker. The stifling heat, the insistent buzzing of a cicada, and then this overwhelming silence within the hospital walls.
Yeah.
It's like the calm before a storm.
And then they step into the waiting room.
Yeah.
And it gets even stranger.
Really?
The patients are described as almost uniform in their stillness.
Oh.
Like they've been coated in dust. There's movement, but it's this repetitive,
Right.
almost mechanical motion.
Yeah.
Counting cards, playing with beads. It's as if they're trapped in a loop.
I found that imagery so powerful.
I know.
It's not just a description of physical stillness. It speaks to a deeper stagnation,
Right.
a sense of lives put on hold.
Yeah.
And considering the young woman is there for treatment, it makes you wonder if this reflects her own internal state, her own feelings of being stuck.
And then comes the shock therapy. The author doesn't shy away from the details. The smells, the physical sensations, the feeling of bones breaking.
Wow.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
And the way the young woman compares the after effects to being electrocuted by a lamp as a child, it highlights the trauma of the experience.
That parallel to the childhood memory is crucial. It suggests that the treatment, intended to heal, might actually be causing further damage.
Right.
Further disconnection from herself.
It makes you question what healing even means in this context.
Right.
Then she's released.
Okay.
Her mother is convinced she's all right. But the young woman clearly feels anything but. She's numb, detached, and even attempts suicide.
This is where the chapter takes a dark turn.
Oh, okay.
I think it's important to look at the detail of her cutting her leg, not her wrist.
Oh.
Almost like she's testing the waters of self-destruction.
Right.
This internal struggle between wanting to escape and fearing the finality of death is fascinating.
It's as if she's caught in this liminal space, both physically and emotionally.
Yeah.
She ends up on a beach near prison.
Okay.
This stark landscape with the looming water tower,
Right.
the exposed sandbar, and the deep water feels heavy with symbolism.
Absolutely.
You say?
The beach becomes a sort of purgatory for her.
Right.
A place where she can exist between states. And the prison, always visible, could represent the mental confinement she feels.
Right.
The societal pressures that are boxing her in.
Then there's this brief encounter with a prison guard where she imagines a different life. Married with children.
Okay.
Living simply by the sea. This
Yeah.
glimpse of normalcy only emphasizes how far from it she feels.
It speaks to a yearning for connection,
Right.
for a sense of belonging that seems just out of reach.
Yeah.
It's as though she's witnessing a life she can't quite access. A life that might have been possible had things been different.
And as the day progresses, the unease builds. She's surrounded by families enjoying the beach. But her isolation is palpable.
Right.
The darkening sky, the chilling water, the prison looming in the distance. It's all very oppressive.
The setting almost becomes a character itself, reflecting her internal turmoil.
Yeah.
It's as if the external world is mirroring her psychological state,
Right.
closing in on her, reflecting her feeling of being trapped.
Then the chapter ends with her leaving the beach, leaving her shoes behind on a log. What do you make of that image?
Leaving the shoes behind is a powerful symbol, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're described as black patent leather, which suggests a formality, a societal expectation.
Right.
Leaving them behind on the beach,
Yeah.
a place of freedom and release, could symbolize a rejection of those expectations.
Especially with them being left on a log, pointing out to sea like a sort of soul compass.
Right.
There's a sense of searching for direction,
Yeah.
but also a recognition that the path ahead is uncharted.
And remember how she mentions it pleased her to imagine them there after she was dead?
Oh, yeah.
That line is particularly chilling.
Yeah.
While it speaks to the suicidal thought still lingering,
Right.
there's also a sense of detachment. Almost as if she's separating herself from the person who might take such a drastic step.
So the shoes represent that part of her still tethered to the world, to societal expectations.
Yeah.
Leaving them behind could be seen as a symbolic severing of those ties, a step toward reclaiming her agency.
But it also leaves her vulnerable, exposed.
Yeah.
Walking away from those shoes is a powerful act of rebellion,
Right.
but it also suggests a leap into the unknown. And we're left wondering, what will she step into next?
Right.
What will fill the void left behind?
It's interesting that you bring up the idea of void because there's another scene I wanted to touch on. Her encounter with the child and his mother on the beach.
Oh, right.
It seems to highlight this longing for something she feels is missing.
That scene really stood out to me as well.
Yeah.
You have this image of the carefree child,
Right.
completely absorbed in skipping stones. A picture of pure, unburdened joy.
And the mother calling out to her son
Yeah.
represents this ordinary, everyday life that feels so distant to the young woman.
And she observes them with a mix of longing and detachment,
Right.
even offering the child candy, then money. It's as if she's trying to buy a connection she's unable to create organically.
It's almost a desperate attempt to reach out,
Right.
to grasp at some semblance of normalcy.
Yeah.
But it's fleeting. The boy returns to his mother, leaving her alone again, with only the cold stones and the encroaching tide as companions.
Which brings us to the powerful imagery the author uses to describe the water.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just a calm, inviting sea.
Right.
She describes it as coming from the sea floor itself, with blind white fish swimming in the great polar cold.
Wow.
Shark's teeth and whale ear bones are scattered like gravestones.
That description creates a sense of being submerged in a dark,
Right.
almost alien world.
Yeah.
A world of death and decay.
Yeah.
It's a stark contrast to the idyllic summer setting we started with, and it mirrors her own feelings of being lost,
Yeah.
adrift in a reality that no longer makes sense.
And then there's this detail about the sandbar and the unique shell it holds.
Thick, smooth, big as a thumb joint, she describes it.
Uh-huh.
And usually white, although sometimes pink or peach colored.
Right.
There's a beauty to it,
Yeah.
but it's buried, hidden beneath the surface.
It made me think of potential, like a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered.
Yeah.
It connects to her own search for identity,
Right.
for something solid and real in a world that feels increasingly fluid and uncertain.
So while the shoes represent the external pressures she's shedding,
Uh-huh.
the shell could symbolize her own inner worth,
Right.
the strength she needs to uncover within herself.
It's a fascinating juxtaposition.
Yeah.
On the one hand, she's rejecting societal expectations represented by the shoes.
Right.
On the other, she's searching for something true and genuine within herself, symbolized by the shell.
Perhaps these two seemingly contradictory acts are actually two sides of the same coin, both necessary steps in her journey towards self-discovery.
This reminds me of the soul compass metaphor.
Is it possible that she's not just rejecting the expected path, but also seeking a new direction based on her own inner compass?
Yeah.
One that leads her toward this hidden potential represented by the shell.
I think that's a very insightful interpretation.
Yeah.
It's not just about rebellion.
Right.
It's about seeking a different kind of truth, one that resonates with her authentic self.
And the shell, hidden yet beautiful, suggests that this truth might not be readily apparent,
Right.
that it requires digging, searching, a willingness to explore the depths of her own being.
So maybe the shoes are not simply discarded,
Right.
but left behind as a marker,
Okay.
a reminder of where she's been, what she's choosing to move away from.
Right.
They become a point of reference as she sets out on this new, uncharted path, guided by her own internal compass.
And perhaps that's what makes the ending so powerful.
Yeah.
We don't know if she'll succeed in finding this new direction, if she'll be able to unearth the strength and beauty represented by the shell. But the act of leaving the shoes behind, of taking that first step into the unknown, suggests a courage, a determination to break free from the confines of her current reality.
It's a reminder that the journey toward self-discovery is rarely easy.
Right.
that it requires a willingness to shed old identities and embrace the uncertainty of the unknown.
Yeah.
It's a leap of faith,
Hmm.
and we're left on the edge of our seats wondering where it will lead.
And that's the beauty of this chapter.
Right.
It doesn't provide easy answers,
Yeah.
but rather invites us to contemplate these questions ourselves,
Hmm.
to reflect on our own journeys and the choices we make in the face of societal pressures and internal struggles. So we covered like a lot of ground in this chapter.
Yeah.
The unsettling hospital, the shock therapy, the suicide attempt, the symbolism of the beach and those abandoned shoes.
Right.
It all paints a really vivid picture of this young woman's internal struggle.
And while her story is unique,
Yeah.
it taps into these universal themes of alienation and the search for authenticity in a world that can feel like incredibly artificial.
Right.
It makes you think about the pressures we all face to conform, to fit into these predefined roles.
It's like we're all given a map, like a set of directions for how to live our lives.
Right.
But what happens when that map no longer leads us where we want to go?
Mm.
What happens when we realize we're holding the wrong map altogether?
That's when things get interesting.
Yeah.
This chapter beautifully captures that moment of realization,
Right.
that internal conflict between what's expected and what feels true.
Yeah.
The young woman is caught between the expectations of her family, her doctors, society as a whole,
Uh-huh.
and this deep-seated need to break free, to find her own way.
And the act of leaving those shoes behind,
Right.
it's like she's literally stepping off the prescribed path.
Yeah.
It's a powerful image of liberation, but it also comes with a sense of vulnerability, of uncertainty.
Exactly. She's choosing to navigate without a map, relying on her own inner compass. Even though the direction is unclear,
Right.
it's a brave act, but also a risky one.
This reminds me of the shell on the sandbar hidden beneath the surface.
Yeah.
Perhaps finding her own way isn't about rejecting everything from her past, but rather discovering what truly resonates with her, unearthing her own inner strength and beauty.
It's like she's shedding the layers that no longer serve her.
Yeah.
Those external expectations represented by the shoes to make space for something more authentic to emerge.
Right.
The shell, with its subtle beauty and hidden nature,
Yeah.
could represent this process of self-discovery.
So the ending, with her walking away from the beach,
Right.
leaves us with this lingering question.
Yeah.
Will she find what she's searching for? Will she be able to navigate this uncharted territory and create a new map for herself?
That's the question we're left to ponder.
Right.
I think that's the power of this chapter.
Yeah.
It doesn't offer easy answers,
Yeah.
but it challenges us to consider these questions in our own lives.
What are the shoes we're clinging to?
Right.
What are the hidden treasures we're yearning to uncover?
This deep dive into Jar, Chapter 12,
Yeah.
has given us a glimpse into the complexities of the human experience,
Right.
the struggle for identity, and the courage it takes to forge our own paths.
What do you think the shoes left on the beach symbolize? What resonates most with you from this exploration?
We encourage you to sit with these questions,
Yeah.
to reflect on your own journey, and to see what insights emerge. Remember, the path to self-discovery is rarely straightforward.
Right.
It's filled with twists and turns, moments of liberation, and moments of uncertainty.
Yeah.
But it's in those moments of uncertainty that we often discover our greatest strengths and uncover the most profound truths about ourselves.